Hello, primate. If you are a proselytizer, then I am reading this letter to you. There are indications that you have a functional mind. Please use it for the purpose of seeking enlightenment outside of your scriptural paradigm. Proselytizing is a form of violence, one of very many forms of violence that the predator-prey paradigms of Abrahamic or any of the hunter-gatherer cum agricultural commerce-based theocracies practice. There is not, will not be, and never has been a word spoken or written by any deity, only the words of men, of people who have been inspired to both rule and to serve their people by that rule, in a man-made deity's name. I do not claim that your deity, by whatever name you've chosen, from Kali to one of the 13 Elohim to Yesua to Ayn Rand, is a false god. That would imply a belief in me that there exists one or more that are true, and I do not believe that. Truth itself is ephemeral, a perception within the mind of the perceiver. The easily confirmable historical facts clearly show that while mankind knew no better, he chose to believe in invisible, intangible parental figures to induce an artificial conformity in believers, a kind of communal mind. And one has to confess that a well-fabricated imaginary world in which a person may place their personal faith can bring cohesion and a unity of purpose to a community. Humanity is loath to leave that intellectual cradle behind, and I sympathize with the fear of change and with the illusion of being chosen and under some special protection. But it is well past time to stop suckling on such a mental pacifier and to grow beyond the childhood of living life as though imaginary things should determine our actions. The fear of eternal death, the fear of personally no longer existing, is today recognized as a phobia. It is a phobia that is induced by indoctrination into belief systems and by an absence of awareness of the knowledge forbidden by such beliefs, for a very good reason. If a person begins to think for themselves and begins to be careful about what they do and do not believe, they will also begin to perceive the walls of the invisible prison in which they dwell. The animal desire for freedom is an instinct that is hard to suppress. It has been well known for thousands of years that the best type of cage in which to hold a human is one that is well placed inside of our own minds. You might think that I claim some deep superiority over you because I am free from the cage that you choose to live in. That would not be fair to say. The cage you live in, by your own choice, is simply smaller and more confining than my own. Your cage is inside of the one in which I live. We call it reality out here in the natural world. You have my sympathy, fellow prisoner, and I feel the temptation to invite you to step outside of the prison of your own making into the larger prison of the real world. Here, too, there is community, cohesive thought, and acts of love and kindness. There is also brutality, selfishness, war, and hatred, because remember The cage in which you dwell is one of many inside the greater cage of the actual universe. And those who dwell in fear in their little cages fight each other constantly and proselytize to others, as you have done to me, to join in their glorious bloodbath that will somehow prove that one set of delusions is better than another. I'm sorry, I decline your offer to dwell inside one of the smaller cages inside of the greater cage of reality. I much prefer the freedom to breathe in the awareness of what actually exists. I do not ask you to join me in the greater cage, for regardless of your age, you are a child, limiting your own experience, knowledge, and potential wisdom because of living in a cage of your own creation. If you are still immature enough to be asking anyone to come inside and play your imaginary God games with you, then you are probably not ready to uncurl your own being, to spread your wings of awareness that you don't even know you have, and to breathe in the fresh morning air. No, stay where you are, in your invisible prison. But please do not bother to ask me into your playpen again. I have become claustrophobic myself of prisons such as yours. And life is far too short and never to be lived again. So I choose freedom. As well as you are able to. Enjoy your life. The only thing not borrowed from those yet to be.